Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Wadash, and I want to say Shalom to Yaakov Nakwath out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one I don't necessarily have a title for, but it's a response in a way to a video that the Elder Menachem Zappa from GMS South Carolina put up. I was looking for it just then, Salakia, for the pause. And it's called Black Culture is Really White Culture, Esau. And I'm pulling it up here. But it's this video right here. And I have it at the 5-minute mark because, I wanted to find out what the video was. But, I watched this lesson earlier. Hour and 14 minutes. I recommend you, watch it. Good stuff in the video, good stuff on the comment boards and in the chat. Actually, some of the live stream comments, I actually, got some of the scriptures from there. I said, okay, I want to put that in the lesson. So I don't want to get all the same scriptures as the elder brother. I try to, keep it different. All right, to the extent. I think I got a couple, maybe one or two that are the same, but. So the lesson's titled Black Culture is Really White Culture, Esau. And I might just do a response, R-E, right? Or I might title it something with this Brian Suave guy. I don't know how we're going to do with the title yet. But what we're going to do is play the video. Okay, we're going to play the video. And we're going to go through some scriptures. All right, you got this guy Brian Suave. All right, and he's just an Edomite devil. All right, just a Edomite devil that lies. All right, and we're gonna go into some. Actually, I gotta pull up ChatGPT now that I think about it, because I got a whole thing here that I want to touch on as well. So there's a bunch of different stuff. I also was looking up European colonization techniques, but before we do that, give me just 1 minute. There was a lesson that was put up by Apostle Tahara. It's going to bug me if I can't see what the full title is. All right. Yeah, he put up a lesson titled, When the Holy Spirit is taken from you, you can't get it back. And I saw it. I was interested. I just couldn't see the full title. And I said, I want to know what that lesson's about. Slack you. But, yeah, man. We're going to go ahead and play this video. All right. Again, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Wadash. And we're going to get right into it. If the big bro happens to happen by it, Elder Menachem Zappa, hey, Shalom, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi Barakatah, or Barakatah, excuse me. But, yes, let's get right into it, man. Let's go and play it. So, let's get the clip. All right, and this is from the same source that the big bro had it. It's from Right Wing Watch, which I looked into it a little bit. I guess the channel's just basically about exposing, these don't want to use buzzwords here, but these extremist identities that these right wingers have. All right, and they say we're extremists, all right, because we want to do everything for our power, all right, but they're not the extremists when they're literally trying to. Really, they really want to genocide a whole people, all right? They want to get all the black people. Oh, black people are nothing but issues, but you brought our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, well, not natives, but some Latinos in some ways. You brought our people over. So doesn't that, again, make you at fault? Doesn't that make it your issue again? But anyway, you're not going to understand that. I don't want to give anything too big for your brain, like that meme, no thanks. I'm American. Here you go. I love this fucking this meme here. It says, "No thanks, buddy. I'm American," and it's a guy with a brain holding a brain. But yeah, no thanks, buddy. I'm American. But they don't get it. So Right Wing Watch. Here we go. It's called Right Wing Watch News. Brian Suave calls for a rebellious young black man to be killed by the state. And you see they have this little disclaimer here. It says this video may include disinformation or dehumanizing and discriminatory rhetoric. Right Wing Watch exposes bigotry and extremism to disrupt authoritarian political forces and defend democracy. rightwingwatch.org. And they're right, because it does contain disinformation. What the guy says in here is just, it is purely I would say it's not disinformation, but misinformation. All right, they're misinformed, and I mean it is disinformation because they're trying to be deceptive with it. It's deceit on the hands of Esau. But there are statistics, but the way they look at statistics are wrong. The way they look at statistics are wrong. Okay. Yes. All right. It would seem as if black people, all right, disproportionately create a certain amount of crime by statistic. Yes, I'll agree. But do you know how to view those statistics? Do you know how to view them correctly? All right, that shows that they're not the ones perpetuating the most crime, and in fact, it's the white man. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. And you can do that all by the same statistics. All right, that's where differing statistic types come in, and we're going to talk about that today, because Esau, the so-called white man, always wants to use the statistics that benefit them. All right, and of course they're going to use the statistics that make it look like black people do more crime. All right, no, black people don't do more crime. They're statistically more crime is committed by black people, but they're not doing more crime. And you say that doesn't make sense. Well, we'll make it make sense in just a minute, Lord willing. But first, we're going to go ahead and play this video. I'm gonna go ahead and up the audio, and we're let this go, and then we're gonna expose so-called white man Esau and all his lies, because really, like I said, the statistics are there, but you're not reading them right. Okay, I'll agree with you that the statistics are there, but you're not reading them correctly. Okay, and I'll have ChatGPT break it down for you. All right, as is what we've been doing lately, because Esau can't understand shit. So here we go. Let's go ahead and play this video. I'll let it roll, and you'll get to watch this guy talk out his ass.
Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy, they look like Satan in how they act. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them.
So you hear him. That's the first part. That's the first part. So what we want to do is we want to go and debunk some lies. All right, we want to debunk some lies. So what we're gonna go back. So what did he say?
Besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them.
Any criminal statistic, they excel at them. Well, matter of fact, we touched on this a while ago, actually, as a matter of fact. If we go to crime statistics by race, all right, and I looked up what percentage of kidnappers, rapists, mass shooters, child, arrests, and incest perpetuators are committed by the white population in America alone. In America alone, just America. Doing a report on disproportionate crime statistics. It says, no problem. Here's what I can pull together from federal data sets and major research projects. Short version up front, the percent of offenders who are white varies a lot by crime and how the crime is defined. Arrest versus convictions versus incidents versus self-report. Below are national numbers from authoritative sources with short caveats. And you can see all these sources are from the FBI. The FBI, right? United States Sentencing Commission, right? So, incest aware, all right? So you can go and look at all these up. I'm not going to go and click on the FBI's website because I would imagine it stores some sort of crazy-ass fucking cookies or some sort of trackers, all right? I would imagine, all right? So I'm not going to do it. I'm sure I already got enough of those on my computer, so... It says quick table with national figures and sources. It says kidnapping and abduction arrestees. 59.4% white. Says, out of 5,305, so there was 503,005 white people, offenders, out of 8,941 total kidnappings. So, there you go. Sex offenses and rape, 68.9% white, right? 11,273% or numbers were white out of 16,372 total sex offenses. All right, how about child, you know what? All right, 77% white. Huh? That's an alarmingly high statistic there, Esau. What you like, fucking with little kids? Yes, you do. The statistics show it. Okay, and if someone was gonna label me as either a robber or a thief or someone who fucks kids, I would rather be labeled as a thief. Sorry, not sorry. All right, I don't know which one you'd rather be labeled as. All right, but I'm not a thief. But if I had to be chosen to be labeled as something, I'd rather people think I was a thief, right? So, mass shooters. You say, oh, murderers, right? Mass shooters. Roughly half are white, approximately 52. So that's 2% higher than half. So that's still over half of the mass shooters are white. And I imagine that black people are very low on that. I imagine the next biggest figure would probably be Arabic, if I had to guess. Incest perpetuators. It says that no reliable single source percentage by race is available, but 34% of reported child, sex abuse incidents involve family members. So, but I went and, I did a bunch of research, and I also found out that we found out that basically the highest what state has the highest percentage of incest or child molestation, and it's Utah. It's Utah, and Utah is very, 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 very white. Okay, so it says what percentage in America of the USA are white. It says, hey, it depends a bit how you define white, whether Hispanic or Latino are included or not. Here's stats from the 2020 U.S. Census. White alone, including Hispanic and Latino people, are 61.6% of the population. All right. White alone, not Hispanic. All right. And that's what we're looking for. Well, it depends. No, Hispanic and Latino are different. Hispan is, from Spain. Those are Edomites too. But Latinos are usually referring to, Mexicans and so-called. They're not the same demographic. So, but that would be 57.8% of the population for just pure, so-called white. And I said, okay, back to the topic. I have some more questions. What percentage of serial killers, armed robbers, drug dealers, and embezzlers are white? Also, since we don't have stats for incest based on race, what states have the most incest cases? It says, of all time, 52.5% of all U.S. serial killers are white. And then it says black serial killers are 41% in that same data set, which, if you look up list of serial killers, you're not going to see a whole lot of black people. All right. Right? You see this guy. Well, they show him first because they want to, that's probably Esau pushing that first. But all the other ones, if we just skip this, white, or, some a Latin variety, white, right? They're all Edomites. So I'm not buying the 41% of them being so-called black people. All right, that I've seen very, very few non-white in general serial killers. They're almost always white. All right, almost 100%. Okay, so here's where the statistic that one thing Esau can go and grab on. All right, armed robbery. All right, 37.7% of robbery arrests were whites. Black or African American accounted for 59.2% of those arrests. So, robbery, right? Yeah, our people rob. All right, well, that's because, first of all, and I'm not standing up for them, they shouldn't be robbing in the fucking first place. And they're not like us, that you can't lump them in with us because we're in this truth. They're out in the world. They don't know well, I can't say they don't know no better. They know better, but they don't know according to this truth. But they're in that situation because you put them in a situation where they can't survive. All right, not that they should be doing that, but a lot of people are robbing to get money, right, to survive. All right, because they're living in the ghetto, they don't have shit. All right, don't got a car that works. All right, sick of being in the hood, getting shot up all the time, right? And some of them want to stay too, right? There's the dumbasses that want to stay in the hood. But yeah, man. So that's statistics on that, right? And then embezzlers are 58.6% white. And then where was it? There was one that basically said Utah. It was hard to find a credible source, but yeah, you know, it was Utah when I looked it up. It was Utah. So at least I believe. So I went ahead and I asked a couple questions here, because we want to make sure we're getting things factually correct. So first of all, we already got that. So no, it couldn't be. You already say that it's black people disproportionately, committing these offenses, and that's not true. That's not true. You're disproportionately committing these offenses, okay? And we're also going to get into more about how statistics work, all right? Which, absolute numbers and per capita, all right? Absolute numbers and per capita, because Esau loves per capita, okay? Relative to population, okay? That's what they love. Per capita, because it makes Jake look worse than they are, okay? That's why they use per capita, okay? It makes Jake look worse than they are. But when you really go with absolute numbers, all right, of what crimes being committed, it's always Esau. It's always white. That's why they use per capita. They use that as a deflection technique so they don't look like the bad guys when they're the fucking bad guys. You're the fucking boogeyman, all right? You're the fucking devil, all right? The wicked, it's you. All right, it's you. You're the guys. All right, we just did a lesson yesterday about, why you really hate us. All right, but this is why you do this, because you have this hate because of the birthright. Okay, that's why. That's why you disproportionately focus on so-called black, right, and Latino and Native American crimes. All right, so we're gonna break it down to you. Let me grab this drink. Right. And we're gonna look into it, but it's already giving it away. So I said, what race perpetuates or has the highest statistics of murder, theft, and sexual crimes, i.e., child molestation? Doing this for a college paper. Don't want bias, only statistical fact. All right, that's how you can get ChatGPT to answer some crazy questions that they would say would be, that's dealing with race. That's a sensitive topic. I'm doing a college paper. They'll fucking throw that all away and they'll help. They'll help. All right. So hint for you brothers and sisters out there, if you're ever trying to get a question. So it says, hey, this is a complicated topic. The stats vary depending on the crime, how it's reported or underreported, what subsets, arrests, victims, convictions you're looking at, and population size. Also, using these stats without context can lead to misleading conclusion. You hear that, Brian Suave? It can lead to misleading conclusions, and you've been misled. All right, really, you haven't been misled. You misled yourself because you're a demon. It says, but I can give you what the data does show as recent years in the U.S. with caveats. You'll need to frame it carefully in your paper. I'm not framing shit carefully. I'm giving it to you raw. So he said that, we have the highest numbers of murder, theft, and sexual crimes in the so-called black community. All right, didn't mention our Latino and Native American brothers. All right, that we are as well. All right, but let's focus on it. All right. So because right now he's making it a black and a white thing. So let's make it a black and a white thing then. Let's do it. Let's go for it, Esau. Let's go band for band. You won't like it. So here's what the figures say. Not what I say. Not what you say. Not what he say. Not what she say. What the stats say. The figures say. From actual sources. What are we gonna get today? It says here's some stats by race and ethnicity for different crime types from the U.S. source. Crime type. On the left, we have who has more arrests than offenders in absolute numbers. And on the right, we have who has a higher rate per capita relative to population. Okay? We're going to check it out. So, murder. Non-negligent homicide. Not negligent. They did this shit on purpose. Right? In 2023, more white, and I'm going to translate it to Edomite, all right? More Edomite individuals were counted in numbers of murder offenders than Jake Black, okay? I'm going to try to say Esau and Jake, okay? So white, Esau, black, Jake, all right? You get it? Get it. So, in 2023, there were more Edomite offenders were counted in numbers of murder offenders than Jake. 8,842 compared to 6,405. So you did more murders, all right? But if we look over here, it says Jake individuals have significantly higher homicide offender rate per capita compared to Edomites because Jakes are a much smaller share of the total population. We're going to break that down for you a little bit later if you don't understand what that means. So theft, larceny, and theft. It says in 2023, most arrests for larceny theft were Edomite individuals in absolute numbers. 323,648 Edomites versus 172,939 Jake individuals in adult arrests. So that's a lot. That's a lot. You say, oh, it's always the fucking blacks stealing. It's always these fucking blacks and these Negroes, these motherfuckers. Well, your thefts, you had a number of arrests was at 300,000. We were almost 200,000. All right, not full. All right, with our people, and I say black as in for all of our people, because you can't just go black look. The way bloodline works, some of Latinos might be so-called black folk, and some of these black folk might be Latinos, so-called. So-called black folks might be Latinos. We just don't know who we go back through the bloodline. We know we're Jakes, but you can't be have it definitive like that. Now, how about sexual crimes and child crimes and family offenses? It says for offenses against family and children in 2023, Edomite arrests outnumbered Jake a lot. 27,000. I'll get the exact number. 27,070 versus about 10,280 in absolute numbers. It says for sex offenses including rape and prostitution in 2024, adult arrests 7,050 white versus 3,130 black. All right. Juvenile rate. What does that mean? That means kid fucking. All right. In 2023, 1,461 white, 569 black. That's more than double almost of what Jake got. So there you go. It says the per capita rate still tends to show an overrepresentation of black individuals relative to their share of the U.S. population, especially for more violent sexual crime categories. But again, sex offense is broad and underreporting is severe. So it says important caveats and things to understand or things to consider. It says absolute number versus rate per population. Just because a group has more offenders in total doesn't mean it's perpetuating more crime in a sense of higher risk relative to population. For example, Edomites are the majority in many crime categories just because they are the largest racial group number. Well, they're trying to cover up Esau's ass now. Unreporting, biases, you see it. Arrest and conviction guilt, population demographic, socioeconomic. You can pause it if you want to. It says, conclusion of what seems highest depending on the metric. It says, if by highest you mean per capita, and why do they put per capita first? It's because Esau knows what they're doing, but they still blew the whistle on what they're doing. If by highest you mean per capita, then black Americans tend to have higher rates of arrest offending for murder. They have higher arrest rates. Why do they have higher arrest rates, I wonder? It says for murder, violent crimes, and many categories of theft relative to the share of their U.S. populations. White Americans often have higher numbers in absolute terms for many crime categories, especially property crimes, some categories of sexual and family crimes due to their larger population share. If highest you mean by which rate perpetuates, i.e. committing it the most in raw numbers, it's often Edomites in many categories. It's often whites in most categories, again due to population. But that doesn't reflect risk or proportion. No, see, they're trying. So here's how this works with per capita, okay? So an example, if there were 5 guys from the green people race and 3 of them robbed someone, they would have a higher crime statistic compared to, say, 500 white people who 50 amongst them committed the same crime. So you got to realize there was 5 of these green people, only 3 of them robbed someone. All right, sure, that's a good portion of the green people race, but only 3 crimes were done. All right, now the so-called white people, all right, 50 of them out of 500. That's lower proportionate to the people, but that's more crime being done. So who's doing more of the crime? Esau is doing more of the crime. All right, but they try to say, oh, see, black people are doing all the crime. No, they're not. All right, but by the way you label their demographics, black people do more crime, quote unquote, as a race, as you say. All right, but that's because of their numbers. They're not, if there's 10, like it says, if there's 5 green people and 3 of them rob someone, yeah, more of that race seem to be have criminal tendencies, okay, so-called, right? But you're not looking at the 500 of the white people, all right, who 50 among them committed the same crime. That's more crime. They did more crime. The green people did 3 crimes, all right, 3 instances, while the white people did 50 of that said crime. All right, I should have used yellow people or purple people. Okay, so it says exactly that's the idea behind rate per capita versus total count. Green people, 5 total, 3 offenders. 60% committed the crime. White people, 500 total, 50% offenders. 10% committed the crime. So it says, so even though more white people committed crime in general, the crime rate among the green people is way higher, 60% versus 10%. This is why per capita or rate-based stats matter more when comparing across groups of different sizes. Otherwise, the larger group will almost always win in total numbers because there's more of them. It doesn't matter who's committing more crime. At the end of the day, who is committing more crime? White people. White people are committing more crime. Well, per race, not per race, throw that shit out. Who is robbing more people? White people. Who is fucking more kids? White people. Who is stealing more? White people. Who is murdering more? White people. Edomites. Okay? Per populate, not per population. Sure, yeah, Jake has tendencies to be more criminals. There, sure, you love that? Go ahead, E. Sure, right? But who's doing more of the crime still? If there's these bloodthirsty Jake, because we love crime so much, that's all we do. Who's doing more crime? We must be doing more crime now because we're just bloodthirsty. We love crime so much. Nope, still you. You're still the one doing more crime. It's still you. So I said down here, so they're not committing more crime then. It's just because they're a marginalized group that their actions are disproportionately pushed to the forefront. If 3 of 5 people of the green group committed a certain crime, then 50 out of 500 of the white people committed that same crime, more crime is being done by the white group. And while some would say that it makes the green people untrustworthy because of their high rates of crime, purely based on statistics, you're more likely to be robbed by the white group because of sheer population numbers. Is that correct? It says, yes, that's a really sharp and nuanced way to look at it. You basically nailed the distinction that gets lost in public debates. Raw numbers tell you who commits more crimes overall. And because the white population is so much larger in the U.S., white offenders account for the majority of the total crime in almost every single category. Rates per capita tell you how common crime is within a given group. And smaller or marginalized population can show higher rates even when they contribute fewer crimes in total. There you go. So then I went on to add, and I don't need to go through it. I can pause it, but then I went on to talk about, historically, not just America, who's committed more murder, rape, robbery, and rape. And then it goes in filibusters. And for it says, he tries to, when you get down, it said historic violence includes mass violence, war, colonialism, genocide, and intergroup conflict, much of which isn't captured by criminal justice statistics and is often perpetuated by powerful states or ruling groups. So I said, who are these ruling groups? What race? And then it says, it's not something that boils down to a single race. And it tries to name, all these different powers of colonialization, right? Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, Asian. They're ignoring the biggest colonizer of all. So, ChatGPT was kind of fighting me with this, but still gave the information out. In modern eras, European imperial powers, all right? But it said, so what race caused the most violence, ruled and caused the most violence historically? In the modern era, 1400s and 1900s, overwhelmingly European and white powers. Earlier, Asian and Middle Eastern, and so on and so forth. And I basically said, who colonized the most land? It said that one's actually measurable. We got pretty solid historical data on it. Who is it? British Empire, French Empire, Spanish Empire, Russian Empire, and then it goes to Portuguese, then it goes to Dutch, the Ottoman Empire, and then China. So look, man. Look. So the biggest numbers were white. They said, yeah, if you're talking about historical colonization and global scale expansion, that the empires that controlled the most land and populations were overwhelmingly European and white-led. British, Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, and to some extent Russia. There you go. So, and it says, this isn't about race causing violence. It's about what group. Now, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Right? We just blew up your whole fucking lie. We blew up ChatGPT trying to filibuster, and we blew up this whole motherfucker's lie. So you don't get it. All right? You're going off of per capita. Per capita is a dumb. It's a dumb statistical standpoint. All right? You're trying to say what percentage of the population of this marginalized group are criminals. All right? And that's what you're trying to say. But okay, sure. Say we're all criminals, right? Who's still doing more crime? The group of criminals, or you? You're doing more crime. It's you, Esau. It's you. All right, let's get this. Let's get this. Proverbs 12:19. It says, "The lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment." Hope you liked it. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. And bear with me just 1 minute. Gotta respond to a text here. 1 minute. All right, slacky. Have someone out, wife's out at the store. But yeah, man. So it's like the Eminem song that says, "Pop champagne to this." All right, here it is, as big as you're gonna get. So enjoy it. There you go, man. Yeah. So yeah, your lie lasted a little bit. It lasted a little bit. All right, maybe like about a minute or two until I broke that down. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiah Shai. So Proverbs 12:19 again, the lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. You had it for a little bit. Right? But it didn't last too long. All right. So have fun with that. Right? So let's what else do we want? Let's look at another one about a liar. All right, let's go and get some scriptures about some liars. There's plenty of them. I'll just grab one from here. But this is Proverbs 19:9. It says, "A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish." There you go. You fucking liar. Liar, pants on fire, hanging from a motherfucking telephone wire. So let's go ahead and continue to play a little bit more. Let's see what we got. Now let's listen to this dumbass talk himself into a hole. We got this other guy too that I found this going over here, and he was the next one. So I want to touch on that as well.
Black culture. So when we make this generalization, one of the purposes of it, one of the points of utility for it, is for black people who do not embody that culture to repudiate it, hate it, and also for policymakers to make the kind of political movements and in terms of law and order that would usher in the change over time of that culture. One of them would be something like, I tweeted about this, the law of Moses in Deuteronomy 21 concerning a rebellious child. If 5 to 6% of black, I think it's something like 5% of black males are murderers.
Yeah, 5% of young Africans are committing the bulk of the murders.
So if you had 100 black men in a room, even just, I think specifically, if you had 100 black men in a room, 5 of them would have committed murder, which is a lot. Quite a few.
One is Matt Walsh pointed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you gotta look at like Elder Manat Zatba said, a lot of y'all have committed way more murder historically. Okay, and also that's a loaded statistic, because at the end of the day, if you put 100 white males in there, they're probably just as likely to be, or more likely actually, if you're really getting down to it, not going by per capita, you're more likely to have committed a murder. So nice try though.
Now the actual number of blacks who are committing murder is more than whites, and whites are.
Wait, whoa, what?
Is more.
What'd you say?
Pointed out the actual number of blacks who are committing murder is more than Whites. And whites.
No, nope. We just proved that statistic's false. You're a liar. Fucking liar. May Yahweh Shemiao Shai send death and torment upon you. Anguish, all right, upon both of you guys, because you're liars. All right, that's a false witness. All right, we just proved this motherfucker lied in I wouldn't say real time, but that's a lie. We just got the statistics that say no, white people are doing more of the crime. That's a lie. That's a false statistic. Why are you bullshitting, E? That's bullshit, right? You're a liar. You've always been a fucking liar. Let's get another one. Let's go pull up the liars again. Gotta go back. All right, you've always been a fucking liar, man. You've always been a liar. Matter of fact, let's get this one. This is Job 13:4. All right, it says, but ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. That's all you do. You lie. You just lie. You lie about the things that you lied about, as Elder Renata Zatba says from time to time. You just lie. That's all you do is lie. You lie. You're a fucking liar.
It's a significantly greater
60% compared to 13%
percentage of the population. Yeah.
So if you take that, and then you took a law like Deuteronomy 21, which is a just law that God enacted through Moses. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, you have a child they're coming up into their manhood, and they're rebellious, they don't listen. He lists some characteristics, and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him.
And an armed robber would certainly be one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Armed robber.
So they just want to kill black people. That's what they want. They want to use the Bible, all right, deceitfully to enact laws, all right, to establish laws using disproportionate statistic measurements, all right, that we've already proved just then were false, to kill black people. That's what they want. All right, you still think these motherfuckers are your friends? You still think these fucking pale skin mayonnaise race fucking people are your fucking friends, Jake? No, they ain't. They ain't your fucking friends, man. No, they're not. Okay, now you're gonna have speckled birds like me that look like so-called white people, but we ain't. All right, we go back to you have plenty of people that you on the East Coast. You even got black folk that look damn near almost white. All right, they call them yellow or whatnot, right? And then same thing with Latinos, man. They go all the way back from very, very light to very, very dark. Okay? And it's not about, skin color. It's about who you are as a people. These people, when we refer to white people, we're not referring to skin color at the end. We're dealing with the so-called white man, all right, who really is the Edomite. These guys are Edomites here. Okay? It's not about their skin color. Their skin color is not what's going to get them put to death by Yahweh Shemiao Shai. It's their bloodline. All right? We talked about that yesterday. It's their bloodline. That's what's going to get them. Okay, well, I think we talked about it yesterday or the day before. We talked about bloodline a little bit. So that's what's going to get him. All right, Lord ain't going to come by, you're white. Nope. He's going to go, oh, Edomite. Boom, destroyed. Boom, destroyed. Boom, destroyed. Let's talk about how you liked fucking little slave babies. What about how you liked buck breaking the slave men? You liked having sexual relations. What about the cannibalism that you perpetuated against, in the transatlantic slave trade, that you perpetuated against the so-called black people? All right, cannibalism? You fucking crazy? All right, cannibalism and having sex with little kids? Are you nuts? Yes, of course you are, because you're sick. Okay, I'd rather be labeled as the robber. All right, so honestly, I'd rather be labeled as the murderer than someone who eats human flesh and has weird shit going on with little kids. I'd rather be known as a robber murderer. Right? I don't know about you. I don't want to be labeled at any of it. But if I had to choose between the list of a cannibalistic kid fucker, all right, or a robbing murderer, I'd rather just be the robbing murderer. Shit, if you really had to fucking label, all right. Like I said, I mean, there are things that are worse. There are things that are worse. All right, you go into prison as a murderer, all right, or a robber, you're gonna be all right. You go in there as a cannibalistic kid fucker, oh, you're, bam, broomstick right up the ass. Probably first week, all right, and they do that to kill your ass. All right, they do that to kill your ass, and that's what you used to do to Jake. So I'm not saying it's right, but I wouldn't say you'd be undeserving of it, right? It shouldn't be done because that's just weird shit and stuff, shoving stuff up people's asses and stuff. But no, if you got beat to death, all right, with a rock and a sock, hey, that's what the Lord wanted, right? And you got to realize. So, what about the rebellious white children? If you're going by this, all right, they need to be lined up and stoned as well, right? The ones that are talking about going and committing mass shootings and going out there and doing all these selling drugs. Because, I mean, you guys are the bigger population. There's going to be more drug dealers just by sheer numbers of who you are. So those people got to die. So what you're saying is a lot of your population's got to go, We got to start killing a lot of them off then, huh? Right? Biblically, lining them up and stoning them, all right? Before the judges say, hey, this guy has done this, right? Enact the death penalty. That's what's got to go, right? That's what's got to happen, right? See, you don't like it when it's turned around that way, right? You don't like it when it's turned around that way because you want to use these false statistics, all right? No, look, in this day and society, no one's getting lined up and stoned, all right? That's not going to happen, okay? No one's doing that, all right? So who commits more hate crimes? Just going out and just shooting black people because? How many black people just go out and shoot white people just because? They don't. How many white people go out and lynch and hang? What about the whole fucking Captain Kirk shit that went down? All right, there was like 3 or 4 black people that got lynched because of that, and it was a white guy that did the fucking crime. You guys are retards, a fucking retard race, man. That's what you are, the fucking mayonnaise race. Just dumb, dirt people, really.
All the ghetto culture,
violent crime.
Basically, take ghetto culture. It would describe this to a T. If you did that over 3 generations, how much violent crime would you have in the 3rd and 4th generation? Much, much less. What we've done instead is we've actually, with unjust weights and measures, we have wildly penalized whites for even virtuous acts in lawfare. And we have done everything because liberals have appointed blacks to positions of power.
When you say blacks, that tells me all I need to know about you, right? Blacks. All right, whites, okay? You see, it says they sit here saying blacks kill more, at the same time saying they must kill blacks to reduce crime. All right? It says, why is the white male always the victim? He's trying to convince people that the people who are the victims of genocide and slavery are more violent people than the people who genocided and enslaved them. Fucking dumb. Fucking stupid ass faggot. It says, guy really needs to look into legitimate statistics for child sex assault. Absolutely. Absolutely. It said, the youth pastor did it. Nope, I was wrong. It was a pastor this time. So, there you go. There's a very interesting video on YouTube channel called GMS South Carolina 08. The video is titled MAGA Pastor Calls for Executing Rebellious Black Men. Who is this? What are you doing? A little interesting. All right, Aubrey Allen. I don't know. Weird stuff. It says he's ignoring white and European colonialism. Out of 100 white men, how many of them would be murderers? There you go. 99.44%. Okay. So what else? He's lying right in the beginning with his 5% bullshit. Yeah, he's lying the whole time. He's just fucking lying. Okay. It says the term rebellious being so amorphic and intelligible as to mean anything up to including existing while black. That's what he's saying. Rebellious. Rebellious as in how? As how? It says forgot to put your pointy white hoods on, boys. All right. It says dude looks like a member of the Lollipop Guild. What the fuck is up with that haircut? There you go. It says evidently the Klan has forsaken the bed sheets and pointy hoods for a studio and beards. It's true. It's true, man. It says these guys need to get together with Matt Walsh and Joe Webbin and have a good time. It says yeah, this lady's on some weird shit. Aubrey Allen. She keeps on posting this everywhere. There's a YouTube channel called GMS South Carolina 08. That's weird. That's weird. It's weird, Aubrey. I don't know. That's some agent type shit. I'm not saying you are an agent, but that's some agent like shit. I don't know. Why are you gonna direct all these, fucking random wacky people up here? These people aren't the truth. A lot of these people are woke Edomites too. All right, you're gonna try to direct them over to the brothers page. Stop doing that, man. But the people that need to find it, well, they'll find it. All right. So there you go. It says the 2977 crew babbling again. Kirk was safer in Chicago than in Utah. Be sure to keep your children safe from their proclivities. So, yeah, man. He got in the whitest state almost by a white person. So who does more crime? Fucking faggot. Don't even know what you're talking about. Let's listen to this one.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says, there are certain parts of town that you cannot go. And there are certain people that you cannot be around.
Yep.
Right? If there's someone who is black in our church, and they've been in our church, and we know them, and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person,
Right.
but we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers, and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger.
Nope. ChatGPT already broke down off the statistics using actual statistic measurements. Around a group of white people, historically and statistically accurately, you are more likely to be attacked because they perpetuate more of the crime. Nice try, though. Another lie. Let's get a couple scriptures and then we'll close out. So this is Romans 2:21. All right, and this is usually for not being a hypocrite. Esau. This scriptures aren't for them. All right, they're for Jake. But you say all these things while doing these same things, and a lot of you guys end up saying all these things, and then you're the same guys that get caught fucking kids. Okay, a lot of you end up getting caught doing it. All right, there's a lot. All right, there's a lot. It happens a lot. Look it up. Okay, Romans 2:21. Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest a man shall not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Right? So you're over here being a hypocrite. Okay? You're being a hypocrite. Okay? You're saying, oh, you shouldn't kill. Meanwhile, you guys are killing. All right? Oh, you shouldn't lie. Why you guys are lying. All right? So save me the fucking shit show, Esau. All right? We don't want to fucking hear it. And you're saying, well, you're lying on scriptures. I'm not lying on scripture. Well, you're swearing. I'm not swearing either. I didn't say, oh, I swear. I solemnly swear. I didn't say that at one point on anything I ever said. All right? No, you're cursing. I didn't send a curse out. Well, I did send a curse out on that one guy, but did not Elijah do the same thing? All right? You're allowed to send out curses. Well, you're saying bad words. Bad words. Tell me the scripture that says thou shalt not say bad words. And mind you, don't give me the scriptures that talk about corrupt communication. All right? Or vile language. All right? Don't get me those ones, because those are talking about false teachings. All right? Which, if you really want to get down to that, corrupt communication, which is saying things that are deceitful and dishonest and distrue, you would be guilty of corrupt communication in what you just did. So please save me the bullshit. All right? And if you're going to argue with fact. And you can't argue with fact, because fact does not align to what you're trying to do. That's why you have to come up with distant statistics measurements. All right? That's why you have to come up with different data, because if you're going off the raw data, you're the bad guy. You're the boogeyman. You're the devil. You're the demon. You're the evil man. It's you. It's you. You're him. Malachi 1:4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. You are the wicked. You have been defined as the wicked of wicked. All right? So it says, the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Forever. He hates you. Indignation. He does not like you. You are hated. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Right? He doesn't like you. Nobody likes you, Esau. Your women don't like you anymore. They don't want to get with you. The so-called black men don't like you because you're fucking racist. The so-called Latino men barely like you because you're fucking racist. No one likes you. All right? The Asian people are starting to get fucking sick of you. No one likes you. No one likes you. No one likes you. Boo. You're hated. You're hated. You're on the fucking bottom now, E. Well, you're getting there. You're slowly slipping. All right? We're still on the bottom, but you're not on the top no more. Right? The most desired man in 2025 is a so-called black man. Did you know that? Did you know that? Bet you didn't know that. Bet you didn't. All right? And white women aren't the most desired. It's probably the Asian or Latino. All right? And then, of course, the black women are the least desired because, well, attitude issue. But, that's just how it goes, man. You're slipping. All right? You're slipping. You can't catch yourself. You can't grab that ledge, bitch. You're going to fall all the way down. So Proverbs 30:12-14, it says, there is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. We're so good, we're so godly, and Jesus Christ, he's going to help. Yeah, your false little idol that you manufactured for yourself, all right, saying he's a white man. In Revelation, it doesn't say he's a white man. It says he's got feet like unto brass that burn in a furnace. So, another lie from the fucking lying people. Who would have fucking guessed? Verse 13, there is a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. That's you. It's Esau. It's Esau. Who else could it be? It's you. It's fucking you, man. Numbers 35 and 33. So you shall not pollute the land wherein you are. Why? Why should you not pollute the land? For what? What purpose? Why not? Why can't I just go and slay? Right? Why? For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Who has spilled more blood? In general, we already got the statistics. Who does it more? Esau. Whose blood needs to be shed for the land to be cleansed of that blood? Esau. Esau, it's you again. It's you again. You're so popular, Esau. Oh my gosh, it always goes back to you. Look at you. It always goes back to you. You're so great. All right, and everything. You're the top at everything, Esau. You're so great. You're the greatest at killing. You're the greatest at raping. You're the greatest at robbing. You're the greatest at lying. Oh my gosh, it's always you. You're so great. Everybody give a round of applause for Esau. Woohoo! It's you. It's always fucking you, man. You're the liars. You're the ones that steal. You're the ones that kill. You're the ones that are fucking kids. You're the ones embezzling. You're the ones creating, doing all the shit. It's you. It's fucking you. You lying little fucking beast, right? You beast. That's really what you are. You're a beast. You're a savage. You're vile. All right? You're disgusting. Okay? That's who you are. All right? That's who you are. And you see, I got a little loading screen on my mouse over in the corner. I wasn't doing shit. What's it loading for, huh? What you doing, Esau? Little pussy ass fucking faggot. I know you're doing something. I know you're always doing something in the background. We're not stupid. All right, we're not ignorant of your devices, Satan. Right? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Who's that man of sin? Esau. All right. We get a fucking one of those bull horns, all right? It's Esau. Now presenting Esau, the killer, the liar, the robber, the kid diddler himself, Esau. Fucking coming in like a WWE wrestler, right? Shaking your hands to the right and the left. That's you, man. So, you always want to be the top at something. Well, congratulations, Esau. You're top at something, right? You've done it. You've really done it. You're the most likely person to commit an offense. Congratulations. Round of applause, everybody, for Esau. Thank you for coming. All right? It's you. All right? So, and again, at the top of this, it says, let no man deceive you by any means. And one of the means they use to deceive you is these false bullshit statistics. You'll never see them go and get statistics like live. All right, we'll type in ChatGPT live. I didn't do it then because, I was making a lesson. I said, let me go and check this out. And I said, got to make a lesson. But we're not scared to do ChatGPT live, all right, and get our information live, because if it's wrong or if it says something, we'll like, guess I was wrong, and we'll move on. But hey, who did more crime? Who was it again? What's that name? Starts with E, ends with Saw. Revelation 11 and 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou should givest reward, and that thou shouldest give reward, unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. You destroy the earth, not only on top of just killing people, but the deforestation. I have a hard time pronouncing it. Deforestation, however you fucking say it. Polluting of the waters. It's you. You're the one doing it. It's you. Everybody knows. It's you. Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. Because of, and this is why you got to go. This is why Jacob's got to be the next. Jacob has to have next, because you're unrighteous, man. We got to get that. Jacob is the beginning. We got to go and get that. But Ecclesiastes 10:8 says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. The Bible, right here it is. You're this so-called Christian. You don't even know that the so-called book that you love. All right, and I say so-called book that you love because you don't love the book. If you don't understand it, that's why you say you love it. You love it because you think it's God and Jesus Christ's book. It's not. It's Yahweh Shem Shai's book. That's for the Israelites. All right, not no filthy fucking dog ass Edomite. All right, that it's not for you. It's not for you, man. Okay. And if you really knew it, you'd take that book, you'd rip it up, piss on it, and throw it in the flames. If you really knew what it was about. If you really knew what the Bible was about, you'd be doing all sorts of atrocities to it. All right? You'd see people doing everything. Oh, fucking racist book. It's racist. Right? You'd be foaming at the mouth if you really knew what was in there. But you don't. Okay? And that's really for our sakes because, we need to be able to have Bibles and access to Bibles while we're preaching and teaching. Okay? And if you knew what it was, you'd take all the pages down. You'd go and get Target. Remove this shit from the fucking shelves immediately. Right. Take it down now. Be taking them off the shelf, throwing them on the ground, right? You'd be fucking, oh my God, it would be pandemonium. It would be pandemonium, right? And that's what you'd be doing. And we wouldn't have no Bibles to read. And the Lord, the Lord doesn't have that, doesn't want that because we need to be able to preach and to be able to teach. Okay? So, at least for a time and season until, the word gets shut up and then, Jacob's trouble, kicks off in full effect. So, but yeah, man, it's wild. It's wild that these devils, they really think they got it, but they don't. And that's why you got to be kicked out of power. All right. 2nd Esdras 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So yeah, man, these people are liars. They false statistics, bullshit, just constantly, ugh. My gosh, really, it is really infuriating. I mean, if you're gonna get something, get the fact, man. Get the fact. But the fact doesn't, it doesn't help your racist stereotype. All right, and I won't be surprised if they take this one down. So, I'd give you an update, but I can't in this video because if they take it down, they take it down. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't get taken down. But I use a lot of provocative language in this one, so we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, man, Esau's a bunch of liars. And if they take it down, they're just racist. All right, they hate black people. All right, YouTube doesn't care about black people. As they would say on, as Kanye said about George Bush. But yeah, that's what it would be. All right, I would just assume if they took the video down that YouTube perpetuates racism. That's what I would assume in pass around. But just that's just my point of view. But yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. All right, that's where it close out. That's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. So. Yeah, man, more liars, more Edomite liars, just lying their ass off, doing what Edomite does. So can't be unexpected. All right, that's what they've done all throughout history and colonization and everything. They just lie, all right, and force their own agendas upon people. So, but they're all blown up. Lies but for a moment. Lip of truth shall be established forever. That's what's happening right now, E, and I know you don't like it. So we're gonna close out there. Lord and will, it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwidash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.